Hello, friends. This is our weekly meeting with Etzion Becker. It's March 15th today. Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba. Anything special you wish?
Talk about. Let me see. Oh, Carrie, we were wondering. Do you have? We were wondering about Carrie's correspondence with Baba. Do you have access to that? Carrie,
About Kerry?
her correspondence, letters back and forth to Baba.
The correspondence of Kerry Ben Shammai with Baba? Well, it's a very extensive correspondence from 56 till Baba passed away. I didn't think, maybe it's on this computer. Let me try something. Just a minute.
If it's not easy, we can surely come up with.
No, I can check. It will take me a second. Let's see or not. Yes, it is here. Yes, it is. Just a minute. How do I share screen? Just a second. And
Oh, wow.
do you see it?
No, not yet.
I don't know where I am here now. Just a second. I don't know what's going on with this Zoom thing. I share screen. How do I share the screen?
Is a green button at the bottom of your, and mine says it's green, and it's the only green one that says share screen. You see it?
A green button?
Yes, it's next to chat, video, security. It's on the bottom row of icons on the screen. Are you on a desktop or a laptop?
I don't understand what it's doing this thing.
We'll get there. Is your computer a desktop or something else? I don't know the other ones.
Here it is. Just a minute. Here it is. Share screen.
Then you have to select the one you want.
Just wanted to share a few things, but what's written here, when I click on the share screen,
You need to be a co-host. I'm sorry, that's mine.
it was disabled.
Yeah, just a minute. You'll be able. Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
This is the first time Kerry Ben Shammai met Baba.
Beautiful.
This is Del Monico Hotel,
Yeah.
reception 1956. And see, Baba is pointing at the candle.
Yeah. Say
He
careful.
looks, Baba is telling her to be careful. And she told me, we looked together, myself and Kerry, at this picture, and she told me I wanted to fall inside the flame and be consumed by his love. Baba,
Wow.
Baba took her in such, he really took her completely without any reservations, no way of, out or no free will. She was most likely was determined all her life in the previous lifespans to meet the master. That was her dream, her goal since since she came to this world. That's what I understood, and it was so obvious that the only thing in her mind was Meir Baba. He gave her such a. He used to give here and there people such an experience of his divinity that the only choice was that you don't have any choice.
Yeah. How did she learn of Baba?
This is an extremely peculiar story. It's on my website, of course. And perchance, if so you wish, maybe you can read the story of Ruth Carey Ben Shammai and the Hebrew discourses. It's on my website. If you feel like,
Okay.
I would like to, I can share a few more things. The
Okay.
wonderful things to share are money letters. Let me go to, let me see.
First of all, that's Harry Kenmore. Yeah, next to her. I'm pretty sure.
It looks like him, yeah.
Yes. The person who brought Carrie to Baba, the people were the Winterfelds. They were Jewish, so she had presumably some communication with her before she came to New York. She had a large family in New York City. Most of them left they escaped, of course, Europe during the war. Her father managed to escape during 1935, I believe. What happened? He went to Rome. He was quite a distinguished personality, a person who would speak with kings and presidents, and he went to Rome to convene with the Pope. John Paul II, if I'm not wrong, whatever, with a Catholic Pope, what to do with Hitler, because 35, it was quite obvious what's going to be. And people in Germany, the Jews, were waiting till the last moment. When the last moment came, of course, it was too late. But half of the people managed to escape, the rich ones. The poor ones, unfortunately, our Jews don't help each other. Instead of helping each other and evacuating everybody to Israel, the state of Israel would be totally different. Because there were 500,000 Jews, and from them, half of them were exterminated. Anyway, their father, their great father, Jacob Rosenheim, her name was Ruth Carey Rosenheim. That was her maiden name. Very important Jewish family in the 19th century. They're working with the Rothschild. His mother was unique human being. The Rothschild Bank, you know, the person who financed the wars of Napoleon was Rothschild.
Oh.
How he got his money back after all these failures, better not to ask. These guys are clever. If you lose, you get more. Anyway, he went to Rome, he convened with the Pope, and he wrote a note. He stayed in a hotel in Rome. And in his room, he lost a note of the meeting. And in that hotel was working a Gestapo agent to inspect the guests who came to the hotel. And he found the note, and he informed the Gestapo in Germany that Mr. Rosenheim, or maybe they were trailing him. He was, by that time, the president of Orthodox World Judaism.
Wow.
Quite a VIP, was a president. And a very important human being. So most likely the Gestapo was telling him, they found the note. And when Mr. Rosenheim came back to Germany, after a few days, he had a friend in the Gestapo, an officer, and he came to him and he said, if you don't leave tonight Germany, you're going to a concentration camp. There were already 35, there were concentration camps. From 33, they started to lock mainly disabled Germans, left-wing communists. He started to exterminate systematically all his opposition. So it was a Friday, I think, evening of Shabbos, and he got away from Germany. Later on, his family also went out, if I have all the details. And he went to England, and from England they moved to United States. And after the war, he came to stay in Israel. And Kerry, his daughter, they had 8 or 9 children. Kerry already, as she was very young, in her early 20s, she left home. Just imagine, she was the daughter of the Jewish Pope. She could have received, most likely she was also very good looking when she was young. She could have any person she wanted, millionaire, scholar, whatever. But she left home in wandering after the master. She dedicated her lifespan. This is from the early 20s. For more than 30 years, she was searching after the master. In 1956, Israel was created in 1948. It started in 1947, actually, with the United States Resolution number 181. It was November 29th, 1947. So the people of the world decided to give the Jewish people a homeland in the then Palestine, as it was called, with a British mandate. And all the Arab countries voted against and gave an ultimatum to the Jews in Palestine that if they will declare independence, they are going to invade the country and destroy the whole thing. Actually wanted to exterminate all the Jews in Palestine. The war actually started in the 20s with the spiritual head of Palestine, the Mufti of Jerusalem. Mufti is a high rank, like let's say, high sheikh of Islam. He declared the jihad against the Jews. He ran away. The British were after him because he started to create lots of unrest in the country. He was responsible for the massacre of the Jews in the city of Hebron. He was part of the Muslim Brotherhood. And this Muslim Brotherhood took the extreme side of Islam. There is a dispute within Islam about the sayings of the Prophet, and I believe much of it was they made it up during the first 200 years after Muhammad passed away. There were legends, and it's hard to tell what is true and what is not true because we don't have a real truthful record like today, that you have an historian or somebody is writing like Meir Baba was traveling around almost all the time. Somebody was responsible to keep a diary. You know this, like Ramju and Chanji was 20 years, was writing every day, to my knowledge. And so the advent of Muhammad, even it was not so far away, 15 years, 100 years ago, it is not covered at all. Only later on we started to make a track, but it was too late. We don't really know, even if Muhammad existed, we don't have any proof whatsoever. We know that, for example, we have full proofs about Alexander Mokdon, Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, all the emperors of Rome, most of the kings of Greece, etc., etc. We know it quite well, more than 2,000. We have excellent records of the Egyptians, nothing about Muhammad. They didn't keep any record whatsoever, and they claim only after his passing, they discovered all kinds of leaflets. He wrote all kinds of things on on palm leaves, he scribbled here, scribbled there. How can you trust all this thing? And Baba didn't refer to it. Meir Baba. Meir Baba didn't say much about this advent. And whatsoever he said is not clear enough. He didn't want to deal with this. Presumably he was working to make things right. Things went really totally off tune. But it's not our issue at the moment. I'm telling a story within a story.
Well, Baba, there's no doubt that Muhammad existed. Baba says, then, I mean, good enough. Maybe not so much evidence, but I don't think there's any doubt that he existed and was avatars. But Baba includes him in the lineup.
We know this because Baba said he was Muhammad as avatar, and we trust the Sufi masters, and basically that's all we have. And the Islam tradition, Hadith, we call it the Hadith. This is a tradition of Islam, which actually based on the life of the Prophet Muhammad. We, Baba lovers, we know that Muhammad was not just a prophet, but the avatar, a divine incarnation. So to say, in Islam, to say something against Muhammad is a death sentence. If you'll dare to go to any Muslim country whatsoever and say, Muhammad cannot do this and that, it's not possible, they will put you to death. In any Muslim, almost any Muslim country, or they will throw you to jail. So better to keep, but we know that we can say he was divine being, so we are okay.
Well, there's the Quran. I don't know the source of it, but I mean,
according to the Quran, he was a prophet of God. He revealed what angel Gabriel came to him, and he gave him dictations. Possible, we don't know. If he was an avatar, he doesn't need any angel to come to him.
Right.
He's a head master of the angels.
Right.
Never mind, it's okay. Baba said that it was mistakes that he didn't declare himself as avatar. But he most likely couldn't do it because they would skin him alive, as they did to El Khalaj. Most likely you know the story. Anyway, the story with Kerry's father and the independence of Israel, according to the tradition of Islam, Muhammad requested his followers to make sure that Arabia, what we call today the Saudi Arabia, this peninsula, will be Jewish and Christian free. Nobody besides Islam is permitted to live there. Definitely not the holy city of Makkah. These non-Muslims are not permitted. And non-Muslims are not permitted, for example, to have a synagogue or a church in Saudi Arabia, in the entire peninsula.
Who decreed? Was it or when? When was that happened? Who said? Was it a caliphate? Who made that? What's the word?
It is a tradition that it's Muhammad. This is the will of Muhammad. To understand all this, you have to spend 40 years in a Muslim school, if you are willing. Go to Al Azhar in Cairo. We have a special Muslim university, the most important Muslim university in the world. Spend the 40 years, study properly Quran, study properly Arabic. It's a lifespan of just trying to investigate all this ocean of Islam. It's a very big ocean. Just to understand the language is a lifespan achievement. I speak a little bit of Arabic, very humble Arabic, enough to get by. My workers, I was a contractor and I had my workers were Arabs from the what we call the territories, West Bank, for 20 years. I had them. I told you in the past, I used to take them in the morning from home, bring them back in the evening. We would sit in the evening and talking together at their home in Arabic about all kinds of issues, etc., etc. So the head of Islam in Palestine, or call it Israel or whatever. By the way, there never was any country at all by the name Palestine. They asking to free Palestine, but it never captured. There never was such an entity. They refused to accept the two-state solution in 1947, and they declared a war of extermination against the Jewish people, and they lost the war. So they brushed the whole thing off. So they were innocent people. They didn't do anything wrong. According to the propaganda, few millions of wild Jews came here with heavy weapons with the support of the nations and just kicked them out. This is so completely false. Never happened. But many people in the West, in the world, including Baba lovers, believe these stories. How do I know? Because some of my Baba friends on my Facebook keep on posting posts against Israel. And I told him, you're posting lies. And they ignore what I'm saying. Okay, keep on ignoring. I told them, you're getting involved with, this is, to my understanding, because I have been working under Baba's directives on sanskars. The sanskars of the Middle East are some of the worst in the world, maybe in the universe, so stay away. This is not your jurisdiction. Why are people getting involved in something she's not their responsibility whatsoever? Just stay away. Baba warned us again and again, again and again. Just do what I'm telling you. Just focus on me and forget this world. That's all. Then you will be okay. You will achieve the goal of your lifespan, becoming closer and closer to the beloved. This is the purpose of creation. Why do you, because of this dispute of Israelis or Cambodia or they are going to start a war in Korea, or China will attack Taiwan tomorrow and see what's going on in Europe, the whole world in turmoil. So if you waste your energy on these distortions, you will lose the goal of your lifespan, which is to stay for good in the awe of the beloved. This is what he promised us. So stay there. This is the best help we can do for humanity. This is my direct experience after all these years with you. It's a tragedy. The tragedy, not if 3/4 of the world will go away tomorrow, from the 8 billion, only billion will remain. This is a non-issue because it's happening and it will happen eventually. But if two Baba lovers who came to the threshold of the avatar lost their way, this is a real tragedy. That's the way I see it. The rest is no non-issue. This is people, the bodies come and go. This is just a mirage. This body, which this doesn't exist. It's a mirage in our mental imagination. we are too hooked to the mirage, to the fantasy. Never mind. But this, I'm not inventing any wheels. This is what their Baba is saying, and other great masters. So I know to stick to it. This is our prime responsibility. The rest is superficial. I feel each time I see it all the time. I've seen it in Merabad. I was traveling here and there around the Baba world, and it's the tragedy is. You see, we were granted a fantastic boon to come close to such a divine being, and we're playing on the edges. This is tragic. This is really sad.
So we've gotten away from, remember, the question was, how did Carrie find out about Papa? This is the only-
Yes, yes, please.
And it was her father. Her father, we got off on her father. Is that
Yes.
right? Okay. Can we get back to her father and what happened that she learned of Baba?
What happened during eventually she came to Israel, I guess sometime during the late 40s after the war. During the war, she was working with the British Army as an English teacher, I think. We can, if you so wish, we can read later her story. It's on my website. But I can give you a few more details, and we can get to the story, and I can. It's a good, cool story. It's a real good story. What happened? Eventually, she see her fate. How Baba directs things. She ran away from Orthodox Judaism. And by the way, Orthodox Judaism, Orthodox Jews are the only true Christians. How come? If you read the Beatitudes, which are the Sermon on the Mount, there Jesus or Yeshua, I don't know why you call him Jesus, but never mind, Jesus. He specifically said that not a dot of the Torah will be changed. You cannot add or remove one dot. So, whomsoever follows the book of Moses is a true follower of Christ. And all of us, if we call ourselves Christians, the Christianity eventually, in the first hundreds of years of it became the religion of the Roman Empire, and they changed the whole thing to make it more comfortable for all the new converts who were pagans, who were eating pork, and they were doing whatever they wanted. They made it light Judaism. But but Orthodox Judaism are the real true Christians, according to Jews. That's what they say. Going back to Kerry, so 1956, she married an Orthodox Jew. He was a very high scholar. I spent some time with him during the 70s, discussing all kinds of interesting things with him. Very interesting person. You know, one of these German scholars who have 4 PhDs and speaking fluently 8 languages, they have a thorough knowledge of humanity in their fields. And she told me about him that he told me that Meir Baba was a spiritual giant, but his wife, Carrie, told me he cannot accept the idea that God takes a human form. He couldn't take it, but because Baba didn't give him the experience. Okay, he gave the Carrie's experience, he didn't give it to him. And if you don't receive the experience, what do you know? This is just words. You can say on everything, on any person who is a divine being. We are all divine beings, but not in action, not fully conscious. So 1956, her husband won the lottery in Israel. The situation was we lived on rations. I still remember it as a boy. I was, let's say, I was 8 or 10, 1956 or 58. One day, father is coming home and he brings a small piece of yellow bar, something small like this, and which looks like a piece of soap. It looked to me like a soap and told me, taste it. So if father is telling you to eat soap, you eat soap. And it was quite disgusting, and asked him, what is this thing? He told me this is yellow cheese. He managed to find yellow cheese. Can you believe? We didn't have anything, just basic rations. You would get a little book, and you would go to the grocery or whatever we didn't have supermarkets, and you get your rations for the month. And we have in our yard, we have a chicken house, and we grew vegetables and fruit. So food was all the time. We used to live off the ground. But there was nothing. We were poor. If there was some money in the country, we went to buy weapons because our kind neighbors who didn't care that most of us are refugees, Holocaust survivors, and we are ruthless invaders. And they kept on, as a boy, I remember it till now, all the screaming in the news, the Arabs that should get rid of all these Jews once for all. So her husband won the lottery in 1956. And the money was enough that Carrie and her husband would go to New York City to visit their families there. Because most of the family of the great rabbi, she went to visit her sisters and brothers. I think they're mainly sisters, or maybe there was one or two sons. I don't remember for sure. Maybe it's in the bio, which I wrote about. And she met the Winterfelds, and the Winterfelds told her that the master is coming to New York City. So she decided to stay to visit the master, and her husband went back to Israel. So she stayed in New York City 2 more months. And she was invited to the Delmonico Hotel, and there she met Baba, and the rest is history. He zapped her brains once and for all. There was nothing that could be done about this. Quite an incredible story. And then she asked money at that time. And then after the meeting in the Delmonico Hotel, they went to Myrtle Beach. And she didn't have any money whatsoever, just for presumably basic living and to go back. She had a round ticket, most likely, to go back to Israel. I think she came by boat. I don't know if she came even by plane. Whatsoever was cheaper. And before that, before they left Delmonico Hotel, Baba instructed Adele Wolke to collect money for Kerry. Of course, Kerry didn't tell him anything, but Baba, of course, knew everything. So Kerry comes to say goodbye to Baba in the airport, and then she's being handled. If I remember it correct, she was giving the tickets and money to cash money or whatever, so she can travel with Baba to Myrtle Beach or with other means of transportation. And we have the documents of Kerry Ben Shama in Mayor Center. It's on my website, pictures, and there are pictures of Baba in Mayor Center in 1956. You can see Kerry Ben Shammai walking there, and they were planting a tree in the center, and she's standing next to it, etc. And she was strolling in the beach with Baba. Baba ordered her to sleep in the lagoon cabin. According to the testimony of Jane Haynes or Highness, I don't know if I pronounced it properly. She was the only person who was permitted to sleep in the lagoon cabin at all. But this was the cabin where Baba, I think, used to receive the guests, if I'm not wrong. It's true. Today it is like the Baba's acts as like Baba Samadhi in the Baba's room in the Mehrabad. And I visited the center already 91 and 92. And I went to the lagoon cabin. I had the very same experience like entering Baba Samadhi, that you go there and all the sanskars disappear from your brain after 10-15 minutes. So
Did she sleep only one night, Etzion, or did she stay the
this
night?
I don't know, but she was instructed to sleep in the lagoon cabin.
Wow. Now, Etzion, you were mentioning that there was something I could read. We have about 20 minutes. What do you
So maybe you read if you enter my website, Kerry
okay.
Ben Shammai, and
All
you
right.
can see the story of Ruth Kerry Ben Shammai.
Okay, I'll have to get out of this. Can you get out of screen share then? I'll have to share. Let's see. Wait a minute. Where am I here? Sorry, just a minute. Okay, it'll take me a minute, so you can go ahead and talk if you have to get to your website.
How do I enlarge my screen now? Sometimes I don't understand what's going on with all these things. It is.
Now, what section do I look for in your site? Carrie,
English,
okay.
English.
I'm not
You
there yet.
you see heading Kerry Ben Shammai.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's taking me a minute to get there. Slow.
Okay,
Computer. All right.
it's
I
okay.
didn't remember that she had slept in the lagoon cabin at Baba's orders. Wow. We're talking about Carrie Ben Shammai, Suzanne. And Lutpier. We've asked him to tell about that. Well, that of Carrie, and then I asked about how she came to Baba, and that prompted a whole history of of her father's leaving, well, her father's story. So anyway, we are now here where I'm going to be as soon as I get there, reading Carrie's correspondence off from Mayor Baba Israel. No, wait a minute.
Under the heading Kerry Ben Shammai, if you scroll down, you will see the story of Ruth Kerry Ben Shammai in the Hebrew discourses.
Okay.
You see it?
Not yet. Sorry.
It should be in the first heading. It should be easy.
I'm not there. It's my computer. It's old. It's just slow. It's getting there.
You getting it?
Yeah. Okay. Carrie Ben Shammai.
Okay.
This is Hebrew. No, it's okay. So then we go to part one. Would it be there? Or tour? Oh yeah. Would it be part one?
No, these are videos. You go down, scroll down,
Oh,
you will see the story of
okay.
Ruth Kerry Ben Shammai.
The
I don't
story of.
understand what happened here.
Okay. Now I'm gonna have to cut this short. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, this is reading. Okay. I don't know if I'll have time to read all of this because we have now about 15 minutes.
Okay, so okay, you can start
Start.
reading it.
All right. The story of Ruth Carey Ben Shammai, the story of the translation of the discourses of Avatar Meir Baba into Hebrew. Shall I share this? I might as well. I guess you can read along. Where are we here? That'll take a minute. Share. Oh, you're still sharing. Okay, shall I stop sharing? Okay, continue. Okay. Sorry, here we go. Okay. Here we go. Here. The story of, Ruth Carey Ben Shammai, story of translation of the discourses of Avatar Meir Baba into Hebrew and some other stories. Dear lovers of Avatar Meher Baba, we tried to bring some details about one dedicated lover of Baba. We don't know exactly what happened in her early life, and part of it is a guesswork. But what we know well is that she was a fearless lover of Baba and an example of dedication and one-pointedness in her service for him. Now you just told us about this history. I'll just read it again. Caroline Ruth Ben Shammai was born in Germany, Frankfurt, in the morning on December 9th, 1902. She was the daughter of one of the most respectable Jewish ultra-Orthodox families in Germany. Her father, Rabbi Yaakov Rosenheim, was a man of spiritual and religious perfection, a man who excelled in the sciences as well. He was the founder and first president of World Agudat Israel and greatly respected by the community even today. His grandfather was a famous saint and a wonder man. It was said that non-Jewish German soldiers went to pray at his grave during World War I, and all of them returned home. Even during the Nazi regime, German soldiers would sneak into the cemetery to pray at his grave. Now, this is her grandfather. Wow.
Yeah.
Carrie found Orthodox Judaism sorry, I gotta move this. too
narrow.
narrow and confining. Carrie told the story of asking her father why the family servants did not eat their meals together with the family. Not satisfied with her father's answer, Carrie chose to have meals in the kitchen with the servants. She was driven by her free, independent, rebellious spirit to seek a broader, universal vision of reality. Consequently, she left home, we believe in her 20s, searching for spiritual answers and traveled for many years throughout the world. By profession, she was an English teacher and thus she made a living. She spent 8 years in Egypt where she became fluent in Arabic. Finally, she found in Lao-Tzu and Taoism what she had been searching for her whole life, a universal spiritual philosophy and way of life that was non-exclusive and non-dualistic. Carrie was a manifestation of the newly awakened modern woman. For a woman to launch herself so independently into the great world, particularly a woman from such a highly respected Orthodox family, where all your lifespan is well arranged from the beginning till the end, well protected from the cold world, as well as the prospects of getting the best match, indicated the depth of her free and courageous spirit. During 1935, Carrie immigrated to Palestine, Israel, and at the same year, she immigrated then from England, right? That's where she was. At the same year, her family had to flee Germany. Carrie's father went to the Vatican with other Jewish leaders to discuss with the Pope the prospects of Germany winning the war. This came to the knowledge of the Gestapo, and a family friend who was an SS official warned them to escape immediately or to get arrested and be sent to a concentration camp. The family went to England, from there to USA, New York City, and finally, during 1952, to Israel. Carrie got married during 1948, presumably, to Dr. Meir Hillel Ben Shammai, a very fine scholarly person, expert in ancient Hebrew, teacher and editor. He was a member of the Hebrew Linguistic Academy. He had one son from a former marriage, and Carrie raised him like her own son. Carrie herself was childless. Meir agreed to live as a vegetarian according to her wish, or as a condition for her consent to be married. During 1956, Meir won the national lottery. The money was just enough to buy one ticket to the United States. Carrie went to New York City to visit her family, and there, through Fred and Ella Winterfeld, she was told about a great spiritual master who was visiting New York at that time, Meher Baba. When Carrie met Baba for the first time, she simply fell madly in love with him. She immediately recognized Meher Baba, the living embodiment of what she had found in Lao Tzu, the end goal of her heart's longing. On meeting Baba, Carrie fell at her beloved's feet, saying that she wanted to serve him and spend the rest of her life with him. Carrie's photo with Meher Baba appears in the photo album Love Personified, page 135, bottom right, and in Lord Mayher, page 4988. She met Baba at the Longchamps restaurant at Delmonico Hotel in New York City on July 22nd, 1956. I believe that this is her very first meeting Baba. Her body language tells so. That was the picture we were just seeing. It conveys total surrender to him. She almost fell into the candle's flame, and Baba is pointing at the candle as a warning not to get burnt. I wanted to be consumed by his fire, she told me, and she did. According to Adele Walken, Baba told her to stand outside the restaurant and to request from the people to help Carrie to travel to Myrtle Beach because she didn't have the money for that. The situation in Israel was most austere during those days. Adele collected at least twice what was needed, and Baba was very happy. From New York, Carrie followed Baba to Mayher Center in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. There, by Baba's permission or order, she stayed in the lagoon cabin, the only person who ever stayed there, slept overnight, yeah. As Jane Haynes commented about this, it had some significance. Certainly, we can know that it was a great blessing. Joyce Bird of Chigwell, Essex, England, told the story that during 1958, Baba asked the women present to carry him in his chair to the ocean. Joyce remembered that among the women were Margaret Krask and Carrie. She shared her opinion that in this concrete action, Meher Baba was raising the status of women in the world. Carrie started to spread Baba's name in Israel unceasingly and fearlessly, in spite of hostile surroundings and religious prejudices. In a letter which Mani sent to Adele Walken on 8 April 1960 by Baba's approval, Adele was being instructed how to help Carrie financially in obtaining books which Adi K sent to Carrie. Quote, the sum, however, should not be paid fully by you, but should be a joint contribution of as many Baba lovers as convenient and desirous of helping for this purpose, and so that no one donor is burdened with a heavy contribution. During the early 60s, Carrie persuaded her husband to translate some of Baba's discourses into Hebrew. Her knowledge of Hebrew was not enough to do the translation, and Dr. Ben Shammai consented to do so. For an Orthodox Jew, the idea of God descending on earth to live as man amongst men is nonsensical, if not blasphemous, even though Judaism anticipates the coming of the Messiah to redeem the world. But Meher Baba works through the medium of love, and because of his love for his wife, Meher eventually translated into Hebrew 6 of Baba's discourses: love, God realization, true discipleship, the search for God, the problem of sex, the sanctification of married life. It is a small, lovely, hardbound book entitled Meher Baba Says, with an introduction by Carrie on who is Meher Baba. The book won a prize for excellence at the annual Jerusalem Book Fair of 1964. The book was sent to Baba, who was pleased by her effort. Baba signed one book, which was sent back to Carrie. Meher kept working on the discourses with Ilan Weig, who found in a library the book Meher Baba Says. Eventually, they translated the first version of the Hebrew translation of the discourses. Later on, Carrie published the leaflet Universal Message in Hebrew. Hi, Jeff. I'm just letting you know this is the tail end of our meeting with Etzion, and we're reading Carrie's story. We'll read a little longer. Carrie Ben
Baba Shalom Etzion. Baba everybody.
Baba.
Betty.
During April 22nd, 1966, Adi sent a letter to Carrie in which Baba indicated that she was his jewel, a rare and special compliment from Baba. But Baba was well aware of all the obstacles that Carrie had had to face and what was yet to come. Carrie was a dynamo of energy, exuberance, enthusiasm, and love for Baba. She was very zealous about Baba. She had no fear whatsoever in declaring Baba's divinity from the rooftops of Jerusalem. Being fluent in Arabic, Carrie would enter the Arab section of Jerusalem, where she would enthusiastically greet Arabs by exclaiming, "You and I are brothers." She also distributed Baba cards to them. She had also a center in Tel Aviv and in the Upper Galilee. And the way Carrie was treated by her community was mixed. Some appreciated her high idealism, and some simply saw her as a madwoman. But she didn't pay heed to all this. She would give Baba literature even to the Orthodox people. Now, okay, I'll go a little farther. Unless anybody has something to say at this point. We'll have about 5 minutes. Go a little farther. I met Carrie, this is I meaning Etzion, during 1972 through Ilan, whom I met in a spiritual meeting, and one day he suggested that I should meet a woman in Jerusalem. As soon as I entered her lavish Baba room and gazed at Baba's picture, He made me know in a split of a second who he is, the highest of the high, my ultimate beloved. Wow. There you have it. That's Etzion. During 1979, Mayer died and Carrie's health was deteriorating. She ordered me to take her to India, where she met her loved ones the last time. The fire of her love for Baba was consuming her body. Soon after her return to Israel, she stopped walking. Something was consuming slowly her body from bottom up, and no medical treatment helped. This jovial, fiery, dancing person became confined to a wheelchair till the end of her life. I spent a very intense year with her until she was forced to leave her apartment because her legs became paralyzed, and she was admitted to an old age home, an Orthodox institution, of course. When I came to collect the contents of her Baba room to my place, her adopted son ordered me to take all that stuff right away, or else he would throw it all into the street. Unfortunately, the book that Baba signed got lost, or maybe it was given away. It felt like a great loss, the closest remnant of Baba's presence, second only to his personal presence. There was no one with whom to share Baba's love, for all the people she shared Baba's love with disappeared. And to sum it up, Elon, who introduced me to Carrie and helped me so much at that time, because I didn't know English, as soon as he heard that Baba's center came to me, he called and asked me to come to his flat in Tel Aviv. Then he gave me all his Baba material, indicated that he needed a living master and couldn't do with a departed one. So what was left to be done? What I was capable of was to translate Baba's books and deliver them to the public. So during 1982, the first book was published. It was a part of Sobs and Throbs, where I concentrated on the story of Ali, an example of dedication to the master no matter what. This was sent to all the libraries in Israel, and a few people were touched by it. Should I stop here? We have a couple of minutes. Oh, meanwhile, I was visiting Carrie quite often in her home, and while Baba allowed her to gulp the cup of suffering to the brim, her slightest wish was being fulfilled promptly. As Baba himself said, I dare not, care not for my lovers. Again and again, we talked about the discourses, and she gave me a few instructions concerning them. I read the discourses many times. I checked Mayer's translation, which was done in a very archaic Hebrew, and I came to the conclusion that it is not possible to translate it into Hebrew, and it is the best people study it in English in order to read the discourses. I'll stop here. We can take it up next time.
Okay.
And yeah, this is great. I'm glad it's all written down, Etzion. You took great care.
This took a few years to collect all the details, and much of the details come by Max Siebert from Cincinnati. Max spent time in Israel during the 70s. I met him there, and Kerry Ben Shammai requested him to start a fund. He opened a bank account or something which called Meir Baba Israel, and he started to collect money there. Baba lovers contributed. Eventually, then she instructed me, of course, when I got the center, take off this fund, the money to publish the discourses. But when I received the, I call it the responsibility of the center, already quite sense that people in Israel will not be too interested with discourses, and it would be better. I decided, I felt when I got this responsibility, I had very close communication with Baba himself here and there, and I felt that he leaves it up to me to decide what to do and how to go. So I decided that the best thing to spend the money is to create the funds, the money, to create, so to learn, to buy the software and the hardware, and to learn how to become publishers.
You became a publisher.
So with this, instead of publishing just the discourses, we published quite a few more books and more brochures, etc. And I learned how to make, and eventually I knew how to make all the layout of the Hebrew discourses. I did the entire translation, which I said took about 10 years. And eventually it was published 2004 or 5. I showed it to you, these books in the formal sessions.
Good. Mhm.
But when I published it, by then almost all my connections with the Baba people in Israel came to an end. People who are not interested since 2000 or something to meet. It's a long story. I don't think we have time. You can talk about this. Tell how Baba is working. When one door closes, he opens another door. I started to have the communication with the Theosophists, and I told you last time that through the Theosophical Society, more people were touched in Israel than all of us Baba lovers combined who did the work. We touched, let's say, a few hundreds, and through them, a few thousands were touched.
Wow.
So Baba is very ingenious in his ways. It doesn't matter. You just keep on walking and he will run the show as he wants it.
Right. Okay, Etzion. Thank you. I'm going to stop recording now.
Okay. By the way,